Hi everyone, welcome back. So let's begin with our today's session. First question is, one of the following has no effect on the lifespan of a handpiece. Low air in the compressor, trauma to the head of the handpiece, pressure during operating the handpiece, or the non-application of lubricant oil. The answer is low air in the compressor. So as you all know that the handpiece is a handheld mechanical instrument which is used to perform various common dental procedures which are removing decay, polishing the fillings, performing the cosmetic dentistry, and altering the prosthesis. A handpiece consists of an internal mechanical component which initiates a rotational force which provides power to the cutting instruments which is attached to the handpiece, that is dental burr, etc. So let's see the next question. What is the primary goal of gingivectomy? Treatment of pseudo pocket, treatment of infrabony pocket, pigmentation removal, or the treatment of gingival growth? The answer is treatment of pseudo pocket. So a gingivectomy is a total removal of a portion of gums from in and around a particular tooth or teeth which has to be treated to treat various gingival diseases, or this procedure is also done to lengthen the height or width of a tooth for various reasons. So let's see what are the procedures to achieve gingivectomy: by surgery, chemosurgery, electrosurgery, cryosurgery, and by laser. Chemosurgery is a selective destruction of a diseased tissue by using chemical substances. Electrosurgery is a procedure wherein there is application of high frequency alternating polarity, the electrical current, to biological tissue as a means to cut, coagulate, desiccate, or fulgurate the tissues. Desiccation is nothing but a procedure to dry the tissue, and fulgurate means to destroy the diseased tissue. Cryosurgery means the usage of extreme cold. Mostly a liquid nitrogen is used in this type of surgery. Carbon dioxide and argon are also sometimes used for this cryosurgery. This type of surgery basically uses extreme cold substances to destroy the diseased tissue. And in laser therapy, it uses the cutting power of a laser beam to make bloodless cuts in tissue or to remove a surface lesion. So I hope all of these terms are very clear to you. So let's see what are the contraindications of gingivectomy. The bony defects cannot be corrected by gingivectomy. The fragile gingiva is an absolute contraindication. Fragile means thin or the insufficient gingiva. And the location of the base of the pocket apical to the mucogingival junction also forms an absolute contraindication for the gingivectomy. Are you confused, friends? Don't worry. Here is explanation for this point. So here is a diagram which I have drawn for you to make this concept very clear. This portion is a crown and the root of a tooth. Okay, and this is the gingiva. This is the attachment loss. Here you can see a space, right? This is a pocket where we insert the periodontal probe to check the pocket depth. This is the top of the pocket, and this one represents the base of the pocket. So as I have explained to you that when this base of the pocket lies apical to the mucogingival junction, It forms an absolute contraindication for the gingivectomy procedure. I hope now it's very clear to you. So here comes the next question. Amenoblastoma of jaw can be treated by excision, resection, enucleation or irradiation. The answer is resection. Resection is a procedure in which there is removal of all or part of the tumor. The tumor along with a margin of normal tissue which is present around it is removed whenever possible. Excision is a procedure where there is removal of diseased or abnormal tissue. Enucleation means the removal of a tumor in such a way that it comes out completely and clean. For example, the nut which is taken out from its shell. It's usually done to remove the small cyst when the vital structures are not involved. And the main advantage of enucleation is the pathologic examination of the entire cyst can be done. The topic of amenoblastoma, that is in-depth description of clinical features, the classification, investigations, the histopathology, everything has been explained in detail, the link of which I have displayed in my description box. So thank you my dear friends for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and share my videos and give your valuable feedbacks. So see you next time. Take care. Bye.